The Mcnees Knives Mac2 3.5, one of my favorite knives. So when I saw this dude right here, I went ahead and picked him up, but it was a trap. Hey YouTube, POV Knives coming at you with another video. This is the Mcnees Knives Mac2 3.5. If you'll remember, Mcnees Knives is a custom knife maker that's been around for a long time. I became familiar with him probably around the same time you did when he released the Spyderco McB. That's that tiny ass Spyderco that everybody wants to own but is super hard to use. I'll put a picture of it right here. But when he got into the mid-tech world, the knife community went crazy. He came out with the Mac2 in a 3-inch blade. I remember when it released, and when it released, I went ahead and I picked up a version very similar to this. It was in green titanium. It didn't have this bronze accent that you see going on, but it had the same texture, and it was just a really cool knife. Felt like it was too small, and I didn't think that he was coming out with anything bigger, so I let it go, and I almost instantaneously regretted it. So when the 3.5 came out, which is, in my opinion, a 3.5-inch blade is really where an EDC knife should be. It is not too big, not too small. You can do anything you need to do with it, especially if you're not building in a finger choil, which don't get me on that soapbox. But when this guy came out, this was the first one I found, and I'm like, sick, man. Jonathan did exactly what I needed him to do. I got the knife. It is just great. It's a thumb stud with awesome action. The blade just falls shut, but you know, I like that controlled fall shut. It doesn't slap, it doesn't bounce, it just does what it needs to do. Really nice, smooth, beautiful action. Great ergo. It's really better than the 3.0 in my opinion. Very usable. What I really like about the blade design is this belly right here. It looks like a simple drop point. Got a little swedge going on, but that belly, the belly is really, really nice for cutting up boxes of other knives. I know, just slip it in, cut the tape off, get your $500 to $800 blade out of there. It's great. So I've always been looking for kind of what I let go. I haven't been able to find a 3-inch blade in this colorway. So when I saw the 3.5, I picked it right up. But man, I was tricked. There were some differences here. The build of these knives is probably about a year apart, maybe a little bit less. And you know, I'm not having a great experience with the second one. This guy might be on its way out. So this is a public service announcement that you may get one of two of these actions. I am not a knife maker. I do not know the trade-offs that need to be made. I haven't talked with Jonathan about this, mostly because if I called him, I'd fanboy out and he'd hang up on me. But I have a feeling that in this knife, because of the milling, some changes needed to be made, right? And I say that because I noticed right off the bat that the thickness, and the camera's not going to capture this real well, but the hand does. This guy is a lot thinner than this guy, and I have a feeling that in order to get the knife to be functional the way it needs to be functional, they had to make the following changes both in thickness, but also in the lock bar. If you take a look at the lock bar, and this is going to be easier to see if these guys are closed, look at that gap. Don't fall into the gap. This gap is significantly larger than this one, and that is a serious pet peeve of mine aesthetically. This just looks and feels cheap to me when there's a huge gap in there. I always really liked what Jonathan Mcnees did with these nice, thin, barely there lock bar spaces. It really looks clean when the knife is shut, when the knife is open. The lock bar feels substantial, like it's really there doing what it needs to do. This guy, it just doesn't, it just feels meh, right? But that's not the biggest problem. And before I go on, I mean, it's still, fit and finish is awesome. Like there's no blade play there in either of these. Even in this, you know, weird looking lock bar one, it's a great knife, but it's not as great as this one. And the major reason, all those other things aside, is the action. It's different, man. So if you look at this one to start off, I'll try to show you where the detent is. It's right there. That's awesome. That's a super early detent. Easily drop it past the detent. Nice fall shut close. Let me show you where this detent is. That's where it is. So I will show you how late of a detent this is. WTF. That is a late ass detent. Jonathan, no. That's not what I want to see, man. So rather than this nice, sick ass action that just puts a smile on my face every time, I've got this. And not only is it a late detent, it's got a detent ramp. So you see how the lock bar moves? It's getting slowly and gradually pushed out. That's a detent ramp, which can be a good thing, but not when the detent's this late, because then it makes it feel even later, because you can't just break the detent and move on. You got to push through it like sludge that you got to get your way through, right? And it just, it's not good, guys. It's not good. It completely changes and ruins the experience of the knife for me. It's got to go, which is unfortunate because, like I said, I have a lot of personal history with this colorway. I really wanted to love it. I do love it. It's a beautiful knife, but man, this guy's got to stay because this one's just sick. It is perfect in every way. You don't have that huge ass lock bar space. The action just, again, face smiling action that just makes you want to live your life and love it, versus this that just pisses you the hell off. No, Jonathan. So this one's going, this one's staying. And I do not know how you distinguish between the two. It is my hope that you guys, because you should get one, they're great knives. It is my hope that I can kind of imply that go with the unmilled ones to get that action. But again, it could unfortunately be a generational thing because these are about a year apart. Maybe this is just how they're making them now. And if that's the case, it's a no-go. I'm sorry, I can't recommend it. So, I'll do my standard size comparisons for you. I think that probably your best bet would be the secondary market, just because you could be like, hey man, send me a video of that knife. I want to see the action. I want to see where the detent is. That's probably how you find a good one. But I mean, as you can see by these two EDC giants, the Para 3 and the Bug Out, this size, perfect. Nice broad blade, thin behind the edge, slices like a beast, very comfortable. It's one of my favorite knives, but can I recommend it? I don't know if I can. Man, not with that action, not with that late ass pathetic detent with the detent ramp. That's unsat. Unsat. I can't have that, man. So this guy's gonna go. This guy's gonna stay. Let me know what you think. I'd be really curious to hear from you guys that actually own these knives. What does your detent look like? Is this like a change within the past year that's just around to stay? Can I tell people to go ahead and buy the unmilled version so they can get a decent action? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.